everybody. Welcome to The Truth Will Set You Free. I am your host, Linda Diane Wattley, and you know I'm excited today. I have a very, very special guest here today. I want to challenge you with something. I'm going to tell you she's an angel. I'm going to tell you she's a miracle. Now, when this is over, you tell me if I'm right or wrong. This is a very interesting lady here. Her name is Sharel Gordon-Love. Hi, Sharel.
Hi, how are you, Linda?
I'm great. Where do I begin with you? Because even at the age of 6.
Yeah, wow, yes. I started writing poetry at the age of 6, yes.
Not only did you write it, it was published.
Well, in school.
Yeah, but still, it was in a magazine. I saw that.
Yes.
Sharel is a person who shares her life in her writing. She's also a survivor of domestic violence, a 2-time cancer survivor, and everything about her life, she shares it in her Christian fiction work. Am I correct? Is that Christian fiction?
Yes.
Right. You have several series. She's in a lot of anthologies. Not only is she good with literary for herself, she shares it with others. She has a publishing company, After the Storm Publishing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And what happened today?
Today we launched the ASP Kids Publishing, our children's books division of After the Storm Publishing. Something
awesome.
As we are so very excited about that imprint, because we started getting a lot of inquiries about children's books, and at first we no, but then it just fell in my spirit that we should just go ahead and just launch out in the deep and just see what God is going to do. So here we are, and it's been a great day.
And Sharel is also a motivational speaker. She's an evangelist. She is so active in her church. She is in high demand in her church because she's such a responsible person. I am fascinated. I was able to tie her down and get her to do this interview. She has a new book out that is very, very powerful, life-changing. Something once you just begin the first intro. I mean, the people she acknowledges, you just gone. You just gone in yourself because she's holding your hand and you need to hold her hand because of there. But it's like you just going to join her because I've read the book and I didn't want to leave her. Tell us the title of this book.
The title of the book is Limitless Through My Limitedness, a Personal Testimony.
And this is really a little different than what you normally do. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely. It's a book that since I usually write fiction, for me to write fiction, I see the story in my head and I don't use an outline or anything like that. So to write nonfiction, I had to write an outline first, and I had to keep referring back to it because am I right? Because this is my life, but I needed a guide to help me to stay focused and stay on track. And it allowed me to see how God worked in my life, in me and through me, and bless me so that I can bless others. Oh my goodness, because at first I was just ready to give up, and I was convinced that, okay, I'm at the end of the road. Here it is. I'll just sit on the sidelines and watch and encourage. But God had other plans for my life. So I'm grateful.
I want you to say that title again.
The title is Limitless Through My Limitedness, a Personal Testimony.
And we're going to go back to that title.
Okay.
But first, we're getting ready to go into the reality of the foundation of this book.
Okay.
Because when I read that book, I promise you, my complaining level really wasn't high, but it's almost 0 now. I was like, oh my God, I thought I knew Sharel.
Oh.
I said, gentle, patient, kind, always available to make things better for other people. This is Sharel? Let's
journey.
begin. I already know how I want to begin this journey. First, I want to begin with your greatest fear.
Wow.
That you mentioned in the book.
My greatest fear. Ooh-wee. I wrote it. So much that's in there.
Anesthesia.
Oh my God. Oh my, getting put to sleep. It was a time that I wasn't afraid, and it was prior to the birth of my middle son. And because he was a C-section, and I was like, okay, they asked me, was I ready? And at the time, my best friend lost her brother, and right before they was about to put me under, I thought about him, and I said, no. I was gone. And ever since then, I had a fear. And I think the fear really is, if they put me to sleep, will I wake up? And I was just like, look, I threatened the doctor and the anesthesiologist during one surgery. And, you know, in my mind, I'm looking at them and I can't move my arms. But in my mind, I'm pointing at all of them and I'm memorizing faces as if I was going to get them after if something happened to me. And it's, you know, and it gets to the point that when I know that I have to have surgery, I really go and get to myself and I talk to the Lord about it. And, you know, I have to get in a better place because I don't want to go in like that, just so afraid, even though once they knock you out, you're knocked out. So, but yes, that had me like really bad, like really fearful. And even since that surgery, I've had several. So I still don't like it.
you never get used to it either, do you?
No. You just think crazy things. And then as a writer, you think really crazy things. Oh God, I don't want any more.
that sets the tempo of the whole thing. You was having a normal day shopping.
Yes. I had my whole day planned.
That question that doctor asked you.
Yes. Do you have a surgeon? I thought he lost his mind. I didn't ask him, was he crazy? But, you know, my afterthought was, this man must be out of his mind getting cut. And I told him, so I'm not having surgery. He told me it wasn't, you know, selective. It wasn't elective. And I'm like, okay, then I'm bartering with this guy and haggling as if I'm buying a car. Because my mind was set because I was going to buy a car that day. And I'm trying to figure out what time. And he's telling me, hopefully in 30 minutes or less, as soon as they can get an operating room clear. And so then I said, okay, he's not joking here. So then he finally came clean with me and he said, you really got something funky going on in there. He said, we have to get in there and get to the bottom of it. He said, if we don't, he said, a day, maybe two, we'll have a fatal situation on our hands. I was like, okay. So, you know, I called I called home first because I know that my job called my house to inform my family. So when I called my middle son, he answered, and just hearing his voice, I said, okay, you're going to have to be real cool because he feeds off of me, off of my emotions. So I said, okay, you got to be real cool with him. Mom, you okay? He sounded like he about to cry. And I said, oh yeah, I'm fine. I said, they just need to go in and see what's going on. And I made my round of calls. And when I called my mom,
Share that one. That was a tearjerker.
Yes. I call her mom. But that day I was, Mommy! Oh my gosh. And she assured me I was gonna be okay. And so like where I lived and where I worked was two states away at the time. So they couldn't just jump in the car and just come right away. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna be okay. I called my pastor. He prayed, and he said, "You call me back. You call me back when you talk to that surgeon." So I called him back. He prayed for everybody that was going to touch my body, that the Lord would guide them and give them what to do. And 3.5 hours later, I was going to my room.
Wow.
And I had no idea about anything until the next morning. And my reaction never met what the doctor was saying. He told me, and I said, okay. my biggest thing was, I watched when they removed the bandage, and it was literally from almost the top of my stomach all the way to the bottom. And my immediate thought was, this man had me laid wide open. Is he crazy? You know? And then he says that as soon as you leave here, you need to see an oncologist. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I ain't going. My daddy died from lung cancer. I was there for all of that, the chemo, the radiation, the remission. Back again, I said, deuces. I'm not, that's just not something that I can do. But my mom talked me into it.
But what was the basic problem?
Well, I had what's called carcinoid tumors, and it was 5 of them in my intestines. And the biggest of the 5 had literally blocked my intestines. And the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I've never felt anything like that before. And to the point they gave me morphine. And now today I can't have morphine because it hurts my stomach. But and you know, I didn't know what that was. When he said carcinoid tumors, blah, 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 I'm like, okay, yeah. But you got it out. You know, they removed the whole foot of my intestines. He told me, I took your appendix out because you would have been back in here because it was being choked by scar tissue. Because I had 2 C-sections. My last 2 sons, they were born via C-section. And so it was a lot of scar tissue in there. But he was saying that, you know, when I finally did go to see the oncologist, he didn't do a treatment plan. They did this scan called a teotride scan because they wanted to see if there was cancer anywhere else. 3 days of scanning. They give you, I forgot the name of the medicine, but they put in your veins, it's radioactive, so they can see, it'll light it up if there's any cancer in your body. And it takes 3 days for them to scan, unless they can do it in 2. If there's absolutely nothing, you're done in 2 days. So you have to clean out your insides real good. So that's another part of it. And so I wasn't even home when the doctor called me. So I told him that my mom could take the call and I was cancer free. And he said there was nothing. And, you know, I was just like, because that was my prayer. And I was like, I don't want to go through that. And that was my prayer, period. Lord, I don't want to do chemo and I don't want to do radiation. That's all I said. That's all I said. And the Lord, he heard my prayer, and oh Lord, I couldn't hardly move out the bed, but I danced in my bed.
Yeah, I'm about to do a little dance.
I just couldn't wrap my mind around having to deal with the side effects of chemo and the radiation, how it burns your flesh. And oh no, I just didn't feel like I could do that. And so it was a kind of a slow healing process. I really don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the way I was cut that it just took so long. But I did go back to work, and that same year, that was 2008, that I went back to work because it happened in 2007. And then by September, I just started having bad digestive problems and joint problems and running tests, that whole thing. And so my doctor told me, he said, you can't work like this. He said, I'm gonna take you out of work. He said, because this you just really can't work this way. Because the additional illnesses, like I have rheumatoid arthritis, and it's an autoimmune disease. And a lot of people really don't realize this. Oh, she just got arthritis. Having osteo and then having rheumatoid is totally two different things. They're similar in the way they behave, but rheumatoid arthritis is just like any other autoimmune disease. It attacks your body. So it could be your brain, your heart, your lung. It could be all of that. And I'm currently doing treatments for that. I was just informed about a week or so ago that the treatment that I was doing for the last 6 months did not work. So I'm on like in the highest class of medicines when I go back August 3rd. So they're going to try a new treatment. So I've already made up my mind that I'm not going to go no further than this last treatment. And what I found that's really a help to me is to eat properly. And I kind of backslid over the holiday, but
that's okay.
Yes. So I have to reboot myself and, you know, do the green veggies and the healthy fruit and things like that, and like really, really limit meat because of the surgery with my intestines, because they reconnected them after they cut off that foot. And the part that they actually cut off is where you absorb your nutrients. And so I don't absorb vitamin D. I don't absorb iron or potassium. So with some of it, I take prescription, and with iron, I have to have infusions ever so often, because once the iron starts going down, it's not coming back up. So, and then like, I didn't know that they actually can tell like your iron stores, like if you have iron stored up. I didn't know that. So once my iron stores get low, I'll be in there for a couple of iron infusions. So, you know, and like my son told me, he made me laugh because he said, we can rebuild her. We have the parts. I said,
he need to quit.
Yes, because of the rheumatoid arthritis, like it eats away the cartilage in your joints. And so I had a hip replacement last year in September. Yes. So we went somewhere and we had to go through a metal detector, and it kept going. And I'm like, wait a minute. I said, I had a hip replacement. The guy goes, why didn't you just tell me that? Because I forgot. I really did. And they want to replace the other one, but I'm doing pretty good. I'm not in a lot of pain with it. So that one is on the back burner. And I lost count how many surgeries.
Oh, wow. But you have had many surgeries. And one of the things that you also mentioned was you had kept going to the doctor, telling them how much pain you were in, and you had lost, about 5 years. If they had taken the time to diagnose you properly, you would not have deterioration, right?
Right. If like when it was in the mild category, the treatment may have worked better. But when you get to moderate and severe, it's like almost a draw of luck almost, that, you know, let's try this, let's try that. If this doesn't work. And the one thing that I know about my body, and it's been that way since I was a little girl, I would get the craziest stuff. And I always ended up with something nobody else had. But even my doctor, my medical doctor, my PCP, he said to me one day, he said, you're gonna have to pray and ask God to teach you how to, you know, what to do for your body. He said, because you know that you're different.
But you know, one of the things that you had mentioned that I'm still kind of baffled about, I had never heard of such a thing.
What's
when
that?
Your brother had his tonsils taken out, the doctor said you might as well take hers too, because she's going to end up with the same thing. You didn't even have that problem.
No, not at all. And my father, he said he didn't realize it till like a couple years later. He said, that man just took my insurance.
Yeah, he took your tonsils.
Yes, and that's a natural filter as well. So it's easy for me, like I just got over a sore throat, you know, different things. It is like I don't know. And I think about all that I've gone through. Because before, it was like, you know, I'm about sick of this. You know, I don't know why I'm going through this. And I had my gallbladder taken out. A couple of months before I had the second surgery when the cancer came back. And that
when the cancer came back, how many years had went by?
Like 5 or 6 years. And it was so crazy because I went to get blood work, and there was a test there that they used to monitor the levels in your body of this particular type of cancer. And it was really high. So I called my oncologist and asked him, did he see it? Did he get the report? So he said, well, I want you to go in for a CAT scan. Went in for a CAT scan. They saw something and they wasn't sure. So I had to do that octiotride scan thingy all over again. And I knew the day that I left, the technician said to me, he said, good luck. I said, oh no. And he couldn't tell me. So he just should have said, have a nice day, you know? So I knew. And then by the time the doctor got his report back, Hurricane Sandy hit us. And we had no electricity. And thank God my landlord, he uses a generator. So we had a little bit, but our phone, everything was gone. So he was calling, but the phone, the voicemail, it wasn't holding his messages. So when the phone came back on, his messages, they weren't there. So one day, my mom and I, we went out and we came back and he called me. He said, I've been trying to reach you. He said, when you get this message, call me. He said, and tell the ladies at the desk, I don't care if I'm in with a patient, come get me. I said, it's back. I knew it was back. And he told me it was. And so I was about to lose it. And my middle son, God has blessed that young man with great faith from a little toddler. He'll tell you, God won't leave you hanging here. So he said to me, he said, Mom, just like the last time, he said, God got you. He said, you're going to be fine. And my mom, she was telling me, you're going to be okay. She said, don't worry. So, you know, I had to go to the surgeon, whole thing. So the surgeon says to me, you're looking at 6 weeks of chemo, just like the first doctor. And I said, well, do you have to open me all the way up again? So he said, yes. He said, I got to get in there. And I just immediately start crying. So he told me, he said, look, this is what I'm going to do. He said, I'm going to conference with some of my colleagues. And he said, because the cancer that you have is very rare, which I've been everywhere I go. People, how did they find it? Because usually by the time it's found, it metastasized because it's rare and it grows slow, and you know, you don't even have symptoms of anything until it's too late. So he said, I have to do that. And he said, give me 2 weeks. So I came back. So he said to me, he said 99% of the doctors I spoke to said, get in there and get it out. Okay. He said, good news. He said, I don't have to go all the way in there. I said, all right, great. So it was like halfway.
So where was it?
This is the thing. It was there, but still, no matter what, in the back of my mind, I guess because of what my dad went through remission, and then like when it came back on him, it took him out. So in my head, I'm thinking, this is it, you know. And I never voiced it. I never said anything. And so I went to a prayer service one night, and the pastor there, he said to me, he knows me, but he didn't know all about that. And he looked at me and he said, Sharel, he said, the Lord said, what's going on in your body will not kill you. I think I tore the whole altar up. I praise God for my healing. So I'm saying to myself, maybe I don't need to go and get this surgery since it's not going to kill me, you know. And so, but I did. I went in, and this time it was 4 hours because they had to check the whole intestines. So 2 days later, the doctor come in, he said, it was nothing in there. There's nothing there. And I was like, Lord, thank you. This is a waste of time. Why I had to go through all of this? But then I got a roommate who, her name is Sharon. She has Crohn's disease. If I hear somebody gagging to throw up, I'm gonna throw up too. That was always a natural reflex for me. I can't hear that sound and not feel like I'm going to as well. It didn't bother me. And I mean, it was every few minutes, she was gagging, she was gagging, she was gagging. And I got to know her mother, and we talked, and I talked to my roommate, and one day she said, that's it. She said, I'm not gonna live, that's it, I'm gonna die. So her mom, she got upset. She said, Sharel, please tell her she's gonna live, she's gonna live. And I said, Sharon, you are going to live. And so I said, you know what, let me get the prayer warriors on this thing. So I got on Facebook and I asked everybody to call her name and asked the Lord to deliver her. Do you know, by that afternoon, all the gagging stopped. It was gone. So by the time I was going home, her husband was able to bring their children to see her. And I said, that's why I had to go through what I went through, because that young lady was ready to give up and die. And I said, and I thank God. After that, I said, you know what, that's it. I said, I'm not going to complain about nothing else that I have to go through, because I realized that just because I'm going through it, it is not just for me. Someone else may be where I'm going that need to know that God will heal them, that he hears prayer, that he can deliver whatever it is that he sent me to do. So if it's through sickness, and many times it's been through sickness, but that was the first time that I ever experienced going through something like that, so that God can use me even on my back to be a blessing to someone. That just made me feel like I could go through the roof. And it's just a wonderful thing how, in spite of everything, in spite of even in spite of the in spice, God is so awesome that, you know, we it's life, it's a part of life. You go through things, and to me, he proves over and over again that he is my healer. I don't care what I've been through. I don't care what I deal with on a day-to-day. And a lot of times nobody knows, only like maybe my family, my mother or my sons. And my son, he'll say, you took your medicine today? I was like, boy, hush, mind your business. And because I don't do opioids, because they have an effect on your body. All this medicine has side effects. So I do my very best to not mess with opioids, any kind of like narcotic, because it also makes you constipated. So then they have medicine out now that's, you know, and that's all of this stuff. So they have medicine that counteracts side effects that also have side effects. So there is a pain med that I do take, but it's a slow release. And so by the time I get a good night's sleep, I'm ready to go. And I get very fatigued. I have periods in a day where, like yesterday, I got up. It was like this seriously energetic day. I was on fire. And I even though the occasion was not a happy occasion, I went by myself, came back, did some work.
Wow.
And, when I went to sleep last night, I went to sleep earlier than I normally did, and I slept well. So I thank God for every victory. I thank God that when people look at me, they don't see what I go through. Some mornings is difficult to get out of bed. It's difficult to walk sometimes, because it's right, it's the summer everywhere. In my back, I have what is that? Some kind of disc disease where the spine is deteriorating, and so I've had surgery on my back, and that was because the spine had started deteriorating, and the disc started leaning on my spinal cord. And so they had to fix that. It was two of them. And it was weird. I had epidural pain treatment, it didn't, that last one, it didn't work. And I went back. I said, how can my whole leg be numb and I'm in pain? It was because of that. So he fixed it, no metal or screws, thank God, in my back. But he said to me, he said, we're not going back in there. Because I came back like a year later, and I had an MRI, and he told me, he said, nope, we're not going back in your back. No, we're not. No, we're not. He said, we'll treat you. We'll do pain management. But I have to say, since the hip replacement, my back don't bother me so much.
Well, that's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes,
I
yes.
said, after all those surgeries you were having, you had the nerve to have surgery on your toe.
Yes. Let me see. 1, 2, 3 of them. 2 on one on the other. Arthritis twisted them.
But you know, you have several forms of suffering in your life. When you contrast domestic violence and contrast to the immune system on your body, which one would you, if you had to choose?
I would rather choose this.
Really?
Domestic violence, I would never wish on my worst enemy, because domestic violence is not just the physical. I experienced the physical, I experienced the mental, and I've experienced, and I say spiritual because it gets to the place that you believe what your abuser says about you, and it affects your spiritual life because you're believing him over what God says about you. Wow. So yeah, so the physical, if you know, the bruises, I only had bruises on my face once, and that was the day I left. Usually the bruises is under the clothes. Your abuser will put you down so they'll feel better about themselves. And they like to control you because they feel like they have no control in their own lives. And so to endure that is something that, for one, I can recognize the signs, you know, pretty much. And I always tell women, don't ignore red flags. If something don't sit right with you, that one red flag, that first one, get going. Because it's true that if a man doesn't respect his mom, he's not going to respect you. That's absolutely true. I don't care how sweet and nice he is to you in the beginning, how he buys you flowers, how he buys you gifts. And they come after the abuse too. I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. But if he hits you once, he will hit you again. At least the Lord deliver him. And God did just that for me. I tell people all the time, he delivered me out of that relationship. And women need to understand that if you have children, it will affect your children. It will affect your children. And prayer is what helps to change that, and for them to understand that it's wrong. Because if you're raising your children in that environment, boys, they'll think that's the right way to have a relationship with a woman, and your girls will think that they're not in a good relationship unless their man or their husband is beating on them, and that's just not true. It messes with your psyche, because like I said, it makes you start to entertain that. Am I really a sorry person? Am I really ugly? I was told at the time I wore a size 5. You're too small, you're too skinny, you don't look like this, you know. And then you start looking at yourself and believing maybe he's right. But when I tell you, I got on my face before God. I got on my face before God. And I had a dream a year before it happened. And in the dream, he showed me that everything that he was gonna do was gonna be worse than the thing before. But at the end, he was gonna deliver me. And that's exactly what happened. But over the course of that year, God dealt with me for every situation. I don't care what it was. He showed me what to do, how to behave, you know, because anything can set them off. It could be nothing. Their day didn't go right. It's your fault. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I don't like how you fix this food. You didn't put the toilet seat there. It could be anything and any reason. But I just wouldn't wish that on anybody, because even after you come out of it, there's still some healing and deliverance that you need to get through and to rebuild your self-esteem and to realize your self-worth and know that God didn't just bring you out of that just because, but he brought you out because, first of all, he loved you. And second of all, there's other women that will be blessed by your testimony. And I always tell these young women, the first thing is, number one, matter of fact, if he ain't your husband, don't give him your body. Because it's a proven scientific fact that when you sleep with somebody, physically you receive a piece of that person. And spiritually, it's a soul tie. Because in the Bible, that when they got married, the real marriage is the consummation. We have our ceremonies, we wear our white dresses, we do all those things. But the real marriage is the consummation. And when you have a soul tie with that person, like you look at the men or the women that be like, I don't want to live without her. If I can't have her, can't nobody else have her. I'm gonna kill her and me. All this craziness going on. And so if that's you, when you get out, you got to ask God to sever that tie, that spiritual tie, because you don't want to still react off of him, or you still looking at him talking about he still look good. He might still look good, but he still go upside your head. So, it's a serious process, but I found God to yet again be a deliverer in my life. So I don't mind sharing that at all.
And what's the title of your book again?
The one for domestic violence. The one is Christian fiction. It's called The Putting Away. And that particular scripture is found in Malachi, I believe it's 3:18, where God says he hates the putting away. And there's another translation that says God hates divorce. So it's not so much as I went to court and got a divorce. That's not what God is talking about. He's talking about how you treat me. He hates that. Divorce, and you can think about it. Divorce is I just cut you off. Divorce is I'm gonna mistreat you because we're not together when you're mistreating me. We're not together when you're cheating on me in marriage. So it's not so much as I signed that paper. Sure do. My ex-husband and I, we got a divorce, but it was years before I felt like I was no longer married to him.
Really?
Yes, it was just like, I don't know if it's because we had to raise our sons together, and that may have been it. We still did family things with our sons, whatever their accomplishments and different things like that, even in his passing. And then I think because our relationship got to be very good, and I didn't still feel married to him by this time, but it really took seeing him in a different light and understanding that we can have a friendship, but we don't have to be married. But that tie to him, it took some years, because and it's so crazy. After we broke up, I'm like, okay, now what? What am I gonna do? Girl, y'all couldn't even get along. Hush your mouth. So that was another journey as well. And and it's not that we broke up unbiblically. There was a reason. And some people tried to make me feel like it was wrong, but I know it wasn't. And I'm not advocating divorce. If you, in your marriage and regardless of what, if you believe that you can work it out 100% both sides, I'm for that. But unfortunately for me, that wasn't what happened for me. However, even going through a broken marriage and God just did what he do, and our relationship mended. And we were there for each other. We were there for each other. So I'm grateful that we had that friendship, that we grew to, because I honestly, when I look back and I look at how I was 21 years old, he was 24. We got married because I got pregnant. Whoopie-doo. I was like, I said, I'm not going to my daddy and telling him that I'm pregnant and I'm not married, because I know what he told me. He said, all right, set the date. That was it. It's so crazy. Now, we were engaged. I had a ring, but we wasn't planning on getting married no time soon.
Wow.
So he did that to appease me, because I didn't want to shame my father. And sometimes we make those kinds of
Understandable. Yeah.
Because I just, my dad was that kind of man. He didn't want us having children out of wedlock. And so with my sons, I told them, like, my oldest son was born out of wedlock. And so I said, the buck stops here. I said, they were tiny. They didn't know what I was saying. And my middle son, he's the vocal one. And I'll be standing there with them, and he'll say, okay, mommy, so can we go play now? And as they grew up, and I just told them what kind of young men they're going to be.
And they
so
are excellent.
I love how God honored, what I've spoken to their lives and the prayers over their lives. And so my youngest son, he's the only one that's married. He'll be married 2 years next month. But he told me, he said, no, this year we traveling. We're going to have some fun. I said, okay, I got to wait for the grands, because someone asked him when they were getting married. He said, well, how many kids y'all got? He said, we don't have any. So he said, the man asked him, he said, so y'all live together? And he said, my mother not going to kill me. And I was just like, oh, that made me feel so good.
Your labor was not in vain.
No.
What I want you to do now is break down that title of this recent book. Because how did you come up with those words?
God gave me those words, because I had made up my mind that, because my sons are going forth in ministry, and I'm like, okay, it must be my turn to just sit back and, and just cheer them on and encourage them. And because it seemed like every time I started something, I couldn't finish it, because I think I was just looking at what I was going through, as opposed to allowing God to work through me like he wanted to. And I just got sick and tired of having this procedure, that procedure, this test, that test. And I said, I'm done. That's it. So I'm just going to wait. So we were in church one Sunday, and I walked up to the altar, and my pastor was praying. And as clear as day, I heard God say, you're limitless through your limitedness. Clear as day. Look, I'm standing on the altar saying, limitedness. I said, is that a word? I said, girl, shut up. But I went home and I looked it up, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's just like, it's just a state of being limited. And I said, it's a word for real. I said, okay, God, I know what you say is true. I said, but I had to go in and look this up. But he allowed me to understand that if he gives me something, I'm free to do it. And then he broke it down even more. Whatever it is that I can't do physically myself, he knows how to put people in my life to say, this person do that, that person do that, that person do that. And I just was so lifted after that. I said, Lord, I thank you. I said, because I can't do what you've assigned me to my life to do. And that's an amazing thing, an amazing thing. And I was like, so I am limitless. Whatever God says I can do, because there's no limits with God. He's not in a box, and I'm not going to put him in one. So if he tells me ASP kids can happen, ASP kids can happen. And I'm just, I stay in awe of God. Just the sometimes it's so simple, and then it's the things that be like, ooh, I'm scared. But I just, you know what? Faith over fear. I'm going to do this right here. And I always say, when God gives you something, He's going to give you what you need to get it done. He will equip you for whatever it is, because even if we know the end result, we don't know what we got to go through to get there. And so it's a faith walk. Because today I read, I picked up an old journal, and I saw, I wrote about a dream I had like 4 years ago. And in the dream, a friend was with me, and I had to go back to school and complete something that I didn't complete. And then I had to go to a class that I was supposed to take and never took. And at first I'm going to be bad, because that's me. I don't like to look at instructions. I was, let me figure this out. I can figure this out. But I needed to go and get instructions, first of all, on how to get in that class. And then even though they told me where it was, I didn't know where it was in that building. I needed to go and ask, how do I get to that class? And I think that's how it is in our faith walk with God. Even though he gives us stuff, we be like, oh yeah, I can do that. But it's in our finite thinking or our limited knowledge, because sometimes the simplest things, God gives us a whole other way to do it. And it's so amazing, because you would never think of it anyway, but he'll say, go this way. And you be like, but that's not how that works. But if you go the way God tell you to work, success.
Sharel,
Mm-hmm.
you are on the Truth Will Set You Free show.
Yes, I am.
Give us a truth to remember.
You want me to tell you? Say that again, I'm sorry.
Give us a truth to remember.
Give you a truth to remember. For me, a truth to always remember is this, and that is God is real. God is real. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care how long it's been. I don't care if he promised you 10 years ago. God is real, and he is faithful, and he is the promise keeper, because he will do what he said he will do. I'm a witness that he will do what he said he will do. Yes.
And if people would like to reach you or eventually get your book, how can they contact you?
Okay, you can contact me through my email, sharelbooks@yahoo.com, SHAREL books@yahoo.com. My website is www.sharellove.com. That's SHARELLOVE.com. I'm on Instagram, Sharel Gordon-Love. On Facebook, Sharel E. Gordon-Love literary page, or you can friend me, Sharel E. Gordon-Love. Either way, you'll find me.
And if you want to write a book, she would definitely help you with her publishing company.
Definitely.
I know that for a fact.
It's such a divine connection. Listen, yeah. when I talked to Elisa about you, I said, I gotta talk to my Linda, because I haven't talked to her. And I just thank God, because even with you, I didn't even know yet. I didn't know yet until I said, later on. And I was just like, when Elisa asked me, I was just like, I've never done that before. And this is after getting that revelation from God, that you can still do what I told you to do. You can still move in the direction that I've given you to move. And then when I was like, okay, wow. God,
tell them what you're talking about.
Okay, with your first book, Soldier with a Backpack, you asked me to edit that book for you. And oh my gosh, I was so into that book that's why it takes a while, because I just received so much. And so I'm working, and I finished it, and I sent it to you, and we was all ready to get it all cleaned up, and then Elisa calls me, and she says, how would you like to be the publisher of After the Storm Publishing? I said, who? me? She's like, yes. She said, I really believe that you're the right person for the job. You know, you've been with me and you've stuck by me and you helped me so much. And I think that you would be able to learn the business and go ahead forth. And it's just been a whirlwind since.
Yes, it has.
It has. I'm enjoying the
Yes,
journey.
yes, yes. It has been such a joy to have you on our show today.
Thank you so much. I just really.
Yes, I hate to let you go. You're going to have to come back. We have to hear how things is going with that book, because that book is dynamic.
Thank you.
I mean, literally, it made me see that the little things are so irrelevant. Even though I already knew that, it just reinforced it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you can't walk away not blessed by that book.
Oh, thank
It's
God.
just no way.
Thank God.
And you did not hide anything.
Nope, not a thing.
And just the fact that it was so real is going to be a blessing for so many people.
That's my prayer. Yes.
And thanks for being on our show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay.
God bless you.
God bless you.